Bukedea. I want to welcome all of you, the chairperson and the team of Human Rights Commission, the members of parliament, the commissioners, our very good friends, the Fourth Estate, and all the ladies and gentlemen. You're most welcome to Parliament of Uganda. This is your parliament. We're very delighted to get a letter from you requesting that you wanted to come and fulfill your constitutional obligation in delivering your report to Parliament of Uganda, and we received it and gave you the time, and I'm happy you adjusted. When you wanted 24th, but we could not be available on 24th, and religiously you accepted to come today. You're most welcome, and we are here ready to receive your document, your report, and of course all this is executed under Article 52(2) of the Constitution of Uganda, and which requires that the Human Rights Commission will always publish a periodic report and its findings and submit it to Parliament of Uganda. And I'm happy that the chairperson of Legal and Parliamentary Committee is here, and she will automatically take on with the findings that will be there, and we shall still refer that report to the Human Rights Committee in Parliament. I want to commend you for your work that you're doing as a Human Rights Commission. I want to commend you for the work that you're doing for this country. You know, you're a bridge. You're a bridge between government and opposition, other opposing bodies. You're a bridge, and you must make sure that you work professionally for you to gain the public trust. You need to get public trust, and I want you to, since you're a bridge, I want you to accept public scrutiny. When you get you accept public scrutiny and all the advices that you can be able to get from the public. People will always criticize, and accept them in good faith and see whether what you're doing is correct or not correct. Please allow that for the good of our nation. It is good for us to get a feedback on what we are doing. Like us in Parliament here, they will talk everything they want to talk, but it is a good feedback for us. It shows us in one way or the other whether we are doing the correct thing or we are not doing the correct thing. That will really bring sanity in the country. So as a bridge that is working for this country, we want you to balance whatever you're doing for the good of this country. And once more, I want to welcome you to Parliament to present your report that will give us information of what is happening outside there. Most welcome, Chair.
We are most obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Robin Agureme, Rakojo, and the rest of your team, Right Honorable Speaker. Before I present the highlights of the 26th annual report on the state of human rights in 2023, I wish to appreciate you for the remarkable achievements of the 11th Parliament under your capable stewardship. I also appreciate you as a leader in the Eastern region and on your achievements as Member of Parliament for Bukedea District. I further appreciate your continued support to the Uganda Human Rights Commission over the years. Madam Speaker, in accordance with Article 52, Clause 2 of the Constitution, which makes the Commission an oversight and accountability institution, and as a bridge between the government and the opposition, as you've rightly observed, I wish to present to you the 26th annual report on the state of human rights in the country for the period 2023. Before I share with you some highlights of the report, I want to commend before you my exceptional team here, including members of the Commission and staff of the Commission who worked tirelessly to prepare this report. Preparation of this report included field visits, data collection, drafting, proofreading, and printing of the report. This was all done with support from Government of Uganda. We want to appreciate you once again, Right Honorable Speaker, that for the first time, you are receiving this report personally. There is a saying in one of the local languages that omusigire tamala byonna. Maybe later on I will request Honorable Mpuga to translate for you what that means. So we are very excited that you are personally, as a mother of the country, receiving this report personally. And as we present this report to you, Right Honorable Speaker, we are concurrently launching it. You preside over an assembly of elected people's representatives. So when we see you here, the country is here. We do not have the luxury of a fanfare, of having a ceremony to launch a report like it used to happen in the past, owing to almost a complete lack of money. So as we present it to you, we are equally launching it, but we are also informing through the media, members of the public, that before close of business today, this report will be on our website. Again, there is a saying in one of the local languages that omumpi akwata wakoma. Again, I will request Honorable Matia Mpuga after this meeting to help you understand what that saying means. Madam Speaker, the 26th annual report highlights the situation of human rights and freedoms in Uganda in the year 2023. The findings are based on the Commission's monitoring, research, and documentation, and the complaints on human rights violations received throughout the year. In each chapter, we make recommendations to relevant authorities for their intervention and improvement. Right Honorable Speaker, the report comprises 13 chapters on different thematic issues. These include Uganda's infrastructure and human rights concerns. That is chapter 1. We noted that over the years, Uganda has made significant strides in infrastructure development, particularly in the road, railway, water and air transport. The infrastructure has eased people's access to service points such as markets, electricity, water, agriculture, hospitals and schools. However, the Commission noted that the quality of roads in Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono and other areas was still poor. In addition, we noted poor project planning of infrastructure development, land disputes which delay road construction, lack of community participation, health and safety, non-compliance, as well as lack of accessibility for persons with disabilities. Details on the status of Uganda's infrastructure and the human rights implications are in the report. The next area is access to information in Uganda. The right of access to information is essential to the democratic functioning of societies and the well-being of each individual. In 2023, Right Honorable Speaker, we noted that there were delays in responding to information requests from government institutions, and journalists continue to face challenges from public bodies which block them from getting information. The cost of accessing information is still high for many Ugandans, and there is a growing online misuse of social media with fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. The Commission noted online gender-based violence, including cyber harassment. Details on the status of access to information are in the report. The other thematic issue is defilement and sexual offenses against children. In the last year, a total of 14,846 sex-related cases were reported to police, representing 6.5% of all crimes reported countrywide. Out of these, 12,771 were defilement cases. The perpetrators were mainly male adults responsible for protection of these same children. These included parents, guardians, teachers, and others. Girls with disabilities were particularly vulnerable to being sexually abused. In the report, we highlight the main causes of sexual offenses against children and the effects of these heinous crimes. Recommendations are made on what should be done to protect children from sexual exploitation and abuse. Next, we are reporting on the state of remand homes and rehabilitation centers in Uganda. Children who commit crimes that require more than a caution are detained in remand homes. Uganda has 7 remand homes in Masindi, Fort Portal, Kabale, Arua, Mbale, Naguru, and Gulu, and 1 national rehabilitation center in Kampiringisi. These facilities are managed by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. The state of remand homes came to light in 2023 following the death in detention of a juvenile called Lomiat Lokomolo in detention at Gulu Remand Home due to starvation and lack of adequate health care. In monitoring these facilities, we noted several human rights concerns, including inadequacy of food, limited remand homes in the country, and as such, children are detained in facilities far away from their homes, inadequacy of transport for the facilities, delayed resolution of the children's cases, overcrowding in the facilities, and recidivism, among others. Details are in the report. Number 5, the right to development and assessment of government programs. We monitored the right to development, specifically focusing on government programs in selected districts to examine their implementation status, benefits, and challenges. The government programs monitored included Parish Development Model, a MIOGA, a Presidential Initiative on Job and Wealth Creation, Youth Livelihood Program, Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, Small Business Recovery Fund, and Agricultural Credit Facility. We noted that many agricultural programs were affected by natural disasters, leading to low recovery rates. Irregularities in selection of beneficiaries and disbursements of funds was noted, as well as the inadequacy of information and sensitization about available programs. In addition, due to poverty and lack of resources by some beneficiaries to meet basic needs, many abandoned the development ventures and instead used the funds to meet their short-term needs, such as food and housing. We further noted that implementation of some programs suffered due to negative mindsets and bad practices by the beneficiaries, which led to diversion of funds. Number 6, the 2023 ADF terror attacks in Kasese. In June 2023, ADF rebels made several attacks in Kasese, including a devastating attack on a secondary school in Mpondwe, Rubiriha Town Council. This tragic incident resulted in the loss of 42 lives, among whom were 38 students. Details of these attacks are documented in the report. Right, Honorable Speaker, I move to number 7. Communities in Uganda at risk of statelessness. A stateless person is someone who is not recognized as a national by any state under the operation of its laws. Without citizenship, Right Honorable Speaker, stateless persons are unable to enjoy many fundamental human rights and freedoms that others take for granted, such as the right to vote. They also often lack access to education, employment, health care, birth registration, marriage, and property rights. Upon the introduction of the mass national identification registration in Uganda, some communities learned that they did not have access to Ugandan citizenship. Majority of these tribes were excluded from the third schedule of the Constitution and at the risk of statelessness. These include the Bennett, the Bachingwe, the Bahaya, the Baziva, the Maragoli, the Sabot, the Banyarwanda, and Indians, Pakistanis, and other people of Asian descent. Details are in the report. Number 8, witness protection in Uganda. All criminal justice systems have a duty to put in place procedures for protection of persons whose cooperation with the criminal justice system in an investigation or prosecution puts them or persons closely related with them at the risk of physical or emotional harm. As crime rates increase in Uganda, the need for stronger witness protection measures becomes even greater. We assessed the situation of witness protection in the country and made appropriate recommendations. Details are in the report. The status of children born out of war in northern Uganda. Children born out of war are children born to local mothers and fathered by enemy combatants who are not known during and after armed conflict. The Commission monitored the plight of these children in northern Uganda, focusing on the Lord's Resistance Army war in Gulu, Lira, and Arua sub-regions. With over 5,000 children born out of this situation, we noted that they face numerous challenges. These included stigma and discrimination from within their families and communities, lack of legal identity, rendering it difficult to prove their nationality, and lack of access to land, since land in the northern region is communally owned. The details, stories, and human rights concerns are in the report. Number 10, hate speech and its human rights implications. Uganda has witnessed an alarming increase in the proliferation and impact of hate speech directly at individual level and among groups. Recent advances in information technology, online communication, and mass media have markedly changed the pace and reach of its spread. The Commission noted that Central Region, being the most populous region and home to the capital city, witnesses a significant amount of political and social discourse, therefore has more prevalence of hate speech. The report assesses the causes, drivers, and effects of hate speech in the country, and thereafter makes recommendations on how to counter the vice of hate speech. Right Honorable Speaker, Chapter 11 of the report highlights our interventions. These include complaints management, investigations and tribunal hearings, monitoring and inspections, and human rights education. Chapter 12 of the report captures the Commission's positions on bills that were introduced before Parliament in 2020 and presents the status of Uganda's reporting obligation to international and regional human rights mechanisms. Right Honorable Speaker, in 2023, we received a total of 4,311 complaints. Out of this, 384 complaints were registered as complaints raising alleged human rights violations as guided by our admissibility criteria. These complaints represented all the matters reported to the Commission, whether admissible or not. On inspection of places of detention, in 2023, we conducted 540 inspection visits to places of detention. These included 267 police stations, 173 police posts, 93 prisons, 6 remand homes, and 1 military detention facility. The many challenges found in prisons included overcrowding and prolonged pretrial detention, with the average pretrial remand period being 5 years and above. The Uganda Prison Service had a total of 259 prison facilities with a population of 76,943 prisoners. Out of the 76,943 prisoners, 40,085 inmates were convicts serving their sentences. 36,284 inmates were on remand, and 574 inmates were civil debtors. The Uganda Police Force had a total of 2,416 police stations and posts nationwide, with a police strength of 49,526 police personnel. The many challenges included detention beyond 48 hours, poor storage of records, and dilapidated structures, with many police stations and posts being housed in old and run-down structures. The police force had 2,416 police stations and posts, but only 455 were housed in police-owned structures. 728 were housed in local government structures. 437 were housed in rented premises. 551 were housed in community-owned facilities, and 245 were housed in church-owned or NGO-owned and other structures. Madam Speaker, the bucket system, where inmates ease themselves in buckets in their cells due to lack of indoor toilet facilities, remained a challenge, with most police stations and some prison facilities. This is very dehumanizing, Right Honorable Speaker. Lack of transport and lack of access to beddings also remained a challenge in many detention facilities, particularly police stations and posts. During the period in issue, we conducted human rights education activities targeting duty bearers and rights holders in the formal and informal sectors. The human rights and civic education interventions comprised of trainings through workshops, barazas or community meetings, road shows, radio and television talk shows, production and airing of sport messages, production and translation of the Bill of Rights into local languages, development, design and distribution of information, education and communication materials. Members of the public accessed the library and documentation center of the Commission for enhanced understanding of human rights. Madam Speaker, the Commission obligation as a national human rights institution to review and analyze bills, laws and policies to ensure that they are in line with human rights standards. It's upon this basis that we reviewed and provided a human rights assessment of the Employment Amendment Bill 2022 and the Animal Feeds Bill 2023. Right Honorable Speaker, in the financial year 2022-2023, Government of Uganda remained the major funding source for the Commission, providing a total of 20,240 million shillings to the Commission for the entire year. This was supplemented by contributions from development partners amounting to 1,849,300,464 shillings. In total, Government of Uganda provided 91.6% of our budget, of which financed only 3% of the core activities of the Commission, while development partners supported 8.4% of the activities. So the rest were not supported, the huge chunk of them. Madam Speaker, the Paris Principles on National Human Rights Institutions require that state funding should be sufficient for the functioning of the national human rights institutions. However, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is still one of the least funded, if not the least funded government institution. We therefore seek your personal indulgence to ensure that the Commission's budget is fully met. Reliance on donor support for core activities is not sustainable, and neither is it wise or patriotic. Madam Speaker, these are the highlights of the 26th annual report. Forgive me that today I have spoken for so long, but it's because as I present this report, I'm also launching it. We believe that our recommendations to government institutions, if enforced, will strengthen the promotion and protection of human rights in the country. We urge the Human Rights Committee of Parliament to consider our report at the earliest possible moment, to follow up on the recommendations with various ministries, departments, and agencies. Before I formally present to you this report, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we were able to print just 2 copies. I want to invoke what I said before, Omumpi, Akwata Wakoma, which Honorable Mpuga will help you understand. So, but we have a spring-bound copy for His Excellency the President, which we will present to him as and when we are able to. But for the rest, maybe for the journalists, the rest of the honorable members of Parliament, the rest of the country, be informed that this report is on our website. That was the best we could afford. We are unable to print any other copy. I now have the honor, Right Honorable Speaker, to present to you
a very exhaustive report, the observations and the recommendations therein. And as government, we will make sure that we look at all the observations, the recommendations, and make sure that they are implemented to the latter. And as Parliament of Uganda, we are very grateful that you've cited an issue on bills. We'll ensure that we have always public engagement whenever we are making a bill, that all the bills we should be having consultation, and we'll always ensure that we consult the public, because the end users of these bills at the end of the day is going to be the public. As a presiding officer, we will make sure in the 45 days that we give to the committees that there will be public consultation. And as we have always said, this is a people-centered parliament. Being a people-centered parliament, we will make sure we involve the public in whatever we are doing. We will always consult and ensure that the bills have what the people require, especially when you talk about the employment bill. That employment bill would really help us a lot in reducing sexual harassment, especially in jobs at workplaces. And as Parliament, as you've made a request that we handle this report as fast as possible, we'll make sure that this report is put on the order paper as soon as possible. In the next sitting, we'll have this report on the order paper, and then we'll forward it to the Committee of Human Rights for scrutiny. And when we refer it to the Committee of Human Rights for scrutiny, feel free. Where the committee will need a clarification from you, will always be able to call you for a clarification from you, and will give you the due attention that is required. And when you talk about the issue of statelessness of communities, you find it's not only what you've mentioned that have no states, that are statelessness. You find even the Banyarwanda who are in the constitution. We've already got a petition from the Banyarwanda who are in the constitution, who have not been registered. They are denying them identity cards. They are denying them passports. They are denying them all those kind of things. So these are issues that we need to correct as a country. And it's good you've raised it up, and we've also asked the Minister of Constitutional Affairs to ensure he comes up with a Constitutional Review Commission. Let's have a Constitutional Review Commission such that if we have these people and have been in Uganda for all this time, let them included in Schedule 3 of the Constitution, to include them as Ugandans. Why should people live in a stateless country? This is where they belong. They want to enjoy their rights. So we will make sure these things are handled, and we'll be giving you feedback. The day when we will debate on this report, we'll also invite you to be part of the session for you to be able to hear what we are discussing about your findings. And where you need any support from us, I know finances are not enough, but you can assure you we will support the Human Rights Commission. And I'm happy you have your chairperson of legal here. The chairperson of legal should be able to advocate for more funding for you. So I want you to constantly engage the chairperson and ensure that we increase the money in the commission for you to be able to work better. I'm actually surprised. I used to think you had only 5 staff. But today when I've seen all this stuff, that's when now I appreciate that you need money. I used to think it was only Crispy, it was Honorable, only 5, but now today we've seen over 20. So you even have up-country staff. So Chair, you need to ensure that the Human Rights Commission gets money. But as I said before, you need to get a feedback from the public, whether what you're doing is helping you act as a bridge between government, between the state and opposition. And if you get a bad feedback, take it in good faith. If you also get a good feedback, also take it in good faith. My commissioner here will have something else to say. But you know, the problem is he may not say it now because we have only come to report, to receive and launch the report, but you will get time, an ample time, to discuss with you. But public scrutiny is very, very important. It helps you get a feedback. And I want you people to take it in good faith. Never get tired of us. Some of us are erratic. Some people are erratic out there. But just accept them the way they are and handle them the best way you can handle them, not the worst. Handle them because you are the one supposed to advise them. I want to thank you once more and thank the Commission, and thank you so much for coming.
Right Honorable Speaker, will be having a group photograph with the commissioners from the Human Rights Commission. Thank you.
Wanonga bulijjo kitukakatikako buli mwaka okuleeta ripooti yaffe eri Speaker wa Parliament. Copy nga tugiwadde His Excellency the President ku ddembe ly'obuntu mu mwaka oguyise. So yensonga lwaki tuzze wano nga tutuukiriza obuvunaanyizibwa obwo obwatuweebwa ssemateeka. Owekitiibwa ennyo sipiika ne tumuwa ripooti yaffe. Twawandiika ku nsonga 12, nsonga 11 ng'esooka infrastructure oba eby'enguudo n'ebyentambula mu Uganda, embeera entambula nga ey'oku mazzi, ey'eggaali y'omukka, ku nguudo n'entambula ey'omu bbanga. Twakizuula nti waliwooko improvement, nti tugenze tulinnyakoko ku mutindo ogw'entambula esobozesa abantu baffe okutuuka mu butale, mu malwaliro, mu masomero n'ebifo ebirala. Naye enguudo zikyali mu mbeera mbi mu disitulikiti nga ez'e Wakiso, Kampala ne Mukono n'awalala. Ebisingako awo biri mu ripooti yaffe. Ripooti yaffe eyogeddeko n'okusobozesa abantu ab'amawulire n'abantu abalala aba bulijjo okufuna information oba ab'amawulire mu bitongole bya gavumenti. Twakizuula nti bannamawulire bakalubirizibwa okufuna information eyo mu bakulira ebitongole bya gavumenti eby'enjawulo. Ebisingako awo biri mu ripooti. Ensonga endala gye twawandiiseeko, ensonga y'okukabasanya obwana obuto. Abaana benjogerako naddala abaana abawala, ng'ate ababasobyako be bantu abasaanidde okubakuuma ng'abazadde, abasomesa, oba betuyise guardians, abantu betulaba nti be bakuuma abaana abo n'abalala. Naddala abaana abawala abaliko obulemu be basinga okuyikirizibwa. Twawandiiseeko ku engeri impact ey'okusobya ku baana abo ebibaviirako obumenyi bw'amateeka ng'obwo okutuusibwa ku baana abo ebibaviiramu. Oluusi abamu bava mu ssomero, abamu balwala n'ebirala. Ensonga endala gye twogeddeko mu ripooti yeeya awasibirwa abaana abato abasangibwa nti bamenye amateeka oba remand homes. Remand homes mu Uganda si nnyingi. Tulina remand homes e Masindi, Fort Portal, Kabale, Arua, Mbale, Naguru ne Gulu, ne rehabilitation center emu yokka e Kampiringisa. Kati n'osanga abaana bano benjogerako be tuyita aba juveniles abali wansi w'emyaka 18. Omwana oyo oba azize omusango oba atwaliddwa mu kooti n'asomerwa omusango. Kaŋŋambe kanjogere ku kye n'akalaba juzi ekisoro. Twasangayo abaana abalenzi 2 nga babasomera omusango gwa nagomola ogw'okutemula omuntu. So eteeka ligamba balina okutwalibwa mu remand home. Naye remand home esinga okubabeera okumpi eri Kabaale. Naye abaana abo twabasanga nga bakyali ku poliisi. Naye OCCID atugamba nti talina ntambula ey'okutwala abaana abo ku remand home e Kabaale. So kooti bw'emala okusomera omusango, kati awo poliisi eva erina okuwaayo omuntu oyo mu mikono gya prisons abakulira amakomera naye nabo bagamba nti tetulina ntambula. So ebyo byonna tubiwandiseeko. Twogeddeko ku mwana eyafiira mu remand home eggulu. Omwana oyo yali ayitibwa Lomiati Lokomoro ewaabwe Kotido. So naye nga Kotido Karamoja yonna teri remand home. So family yoyo omwana nga tesobola mutuukirira kumutwalirako oba ku mmere kumuwa ku bujjanjabi n'ebirala. Kati omwana oyo ekyamuviirako okufa yali enjala n'obutaweebwa bujjanjabi mu budde. So ebisingako awo mujja bisanga mu ripooti yaffe. Tuwandiseeko ne ku kankite oba eddembe ly'enkulaakulana, right to development. Tuwandiseeko ku project za gavumenti ze yateekawo okujja abantu mu bwavu nga bino sirina ngeri ya kubitaputa parish development model oba PDM. Abantu baffe bamanyi PDM kyeki, emyoga, wealth creation, youth livelihood program, Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, Small Business Recovery Fund ne Agricultural Credit Facility. Naye ekyembi ku lw'obwavu obuli mu bantu, ensimbi zino bwe bazifuna oluusi ate ne bazikozesa ku byetaago ebyamangu mangu nga oba okugula emmere ababeera mu bibuga, okusasulako ku nnyumba n'ebirala. So kati ne weesanga nti sente ezo ekigendererwa kyazo tekituukiddwako. Ekirala kye tuwandiseeko be batujju ba ADF obulumbaganyi bwe baakola e Kasese n'obulumbaganyi obwo engeri gye bwakosaamu abantu b'e Kasese n'eggwanga lyonna. Ffenna twanyolwa ku lw'ekikolwa ekyo. Obulumbaganyi obwakolebwa ku ssomero ly'e Lubiriha ne mufiiramu abantu 42 nga 38 ku bo baali bayizi mu ssomero eryo. Ripooti yaffe neera eyogerako ku bantu abali mu Uganda naye ate nga abantu abo bwe kituuka ku butuuze oba citizenship tebalina we baggwa. So constitution ya 1995 yabaleka ebweru nga mulimu ba Bennett, bano basangibwa mu bitundu by'e Sebeyi. Abakingwe Ruth basangibwawa e Kasese, Bahaya e Kasese, abaziba Erakai, Maragoli Kiryando, bano bali Kiryandongo, abasaboti bali mu Eastern Region okusingira ddala mu bitundu by'e Sebeyi. Tuwandiseeko n'abalala wadde bali mu constitution naye ate balinga abatali banansi engeri gye bayisibwamu nga Abanyarwanda. Tulina n'abantu ng'ensibuko yaabwe Asia nga Abayindi n'Abapakistani n'abalala. N'engeri gye bakosebwamu obutafuna bunansi citizenship. Tebalina eddembe ly'okulonda. Kati bwe tugenda mu kukuba akalulu anti tebafunanga tebalina national identity card oba ndagamuntu. Oluusi n'okutuusibwako bwe bagenda mu health care oluusi babasaba national identity card ze batalina. Tebasobola kuwandiisa baana baabwe bwe bazaalibwa, birth registration, okuwandiisa obufumbo bwabwe n'ebirala. Ebisingako awo mujja bisanga mu ripooti yaffe. Naatera okufundikira si bingi nnyo. Tuwandiseeko n'obukuumi bwe twagala buweebwe mu misango gya Nagomola. Tuwandiseeko ku baana tubayise children born out of war. Abaana abatalina batata baabwe tebamanyikiddwa. Baali balwanyi mu lutalo lwa Konyi. Abaana abo bababoola bayisibwa bubi mu bantu. Waliwo bye batafuna ng'ettaka. Oluusi n'okumanya ekika kyo gwani. This is a heterosexual, sorry, this is a patriarchal society. So, ekika kisibuka mu taata. Abaana abo tebamanyi bika byabwe. Twogeddeko ne ku hate speech. Watya bwekosaamu eddembe ly'obuntu. Hate speech oba enjogere y'obukyayi ey'okusosola n'okukyawa abantu oluusi nga tusinziira ku mawanga gaabwe. Twakisanga nti hate speech ate esinzeeko wano mu Central Region. Kyekyo kye nayogeddeko ne ku social media. Ate evumbikidde nnyo ku social media. So, ate kamwakoogera omu ku ba victim. Yes, social media. Singa sali na ddiba lya kyuma. Singa siriiwo. So, social media ate oba lwakuba abantu bateekako obubaka naye ate tebamanyikiddwa. Oba oluusi omuntu ne yeetuuma erinnya eritali lirye. N'awandiika ebyaswakaba byonna nga bw'abiraba. Nga tafuddeeyo watya bwe bikosa abantu abalala. So ebisingako awo mujja bisanga mu ripooti yaffe. Nje tusobodde okukolako mu kusomesa abantu ku ddembe lyabwe, emisango egituleeterwa gye tuwandiisa ne gye tuwulira mu kooti zaffe, mu kooti yaffe ey'eddembe ly'obuntu. Twogeddeko n'emirimu gye tukola ku biruzi za palamenti. Buli biru ereetebwa mu palamenti tuweebwa enkizo okugiyitaayitamu ne tuwabula palamenti watya bwekosa oba bwetumbula eddembe ly'obuntu. Twogeddeko ku mbeera za police stations ne police posts, embeera z'amakomera n'ebirala nga okukozesa bucket system oba okukozesa obulowo. Yes, nga kabuyonjo. It is so undignified. Kikosa nnyo eddembe ly'omuntu. So byebyo twogeddeko ne ku mbeera ya institution gye tubeeramu, era ngambye nti tusobodde omwaka guno okuprintinga report bbiri zokka, kopi bbiri zokka ze mulabye enkwasa ow'ekitiibwa ennyo Right Honorable Speaker. Ow'ekitiibwa President naye etteeka litugamba alina okuweebwa kopi ya report eyo. Eyiye tujja kulaba aba tugikwasa kasitepola bwe kati, naye nga mu buli ngeri tujja mutuusaako kopi ya report eyo. Naye kanfundikire na kino, abanamawulire mumanye nti kopi ya report eri ku website. Mwe musobola okugenda ku website eyo ne musoma report eyo